In this demo, I'm going to talk about the camera tool and show you how you can use it in novel and interesting ways in Microsoft Excel. So now I'm in the source file, Module 2 Camera Tool. So let me give you a lay of the land of this file. So from cells A1 to J10, I've colored the whole thing this nice gray color. You can play with that if you'd like. I've also put this text box here, and this text box has some nice crisp text, one of my favorite fonts, Seago UI Lite. And I've also put this pie chart over here. So this is just your standard looking infographic. And infographics and charts and numbers, these things really go great with the camera tool, and you'll see why. I want to show you that this pie chart here is connected over here to these values, and I've set this up in case you wanted to use this in your own work at some point to be automated. So we have a value, that's the majority pie chart share that you see there. It doesn't necessarily need to be a majority, but that's the part that is our signal. It's the thing that we're most interested in. And then we have our complement. If you remember that from math, that's usually the leftover, the thing that completes something. So in this case, I just wrote 1 minus M3. I'm just going to click in there so you can see it. So just to verify, if I type in 50 here, it turns to 50. If I type in 75, you see it goes back to it. So let's talk about the camera tool and how that goes into all of this. So what I'm going to do, just to show you how this works, is I'm going to select cells A1 through A10, and then I'll go all the way to the right to J10. So I'm going to click the camera tool here. You see now there's these dancing dots or walking ants, or there's many names you can call them. So I'm just going to click right over here somewhere. And you can see that now there is a picture. It took a snapshot. You can think about it that way. You can say cheese. So it takes a snapshot of that cell range. Now, before I go on, I want to show you something, because this is really where the magic happens. I'm going to scroll left just a little bit so you can see. If you look up here to the formula bar, I've selected the camera tool item that was just pasted. If I look up here, you can see that there is a cell range up here. Now, isn't that interesting? What happens if I change that cell range? I'm going to change this to a G. So instead of going from A1 to J10, what if I just go to G10? And we see that that's probably just going to show us the text. Maybe I'll just make it even a little smaller, or I'll write G. Let me just change that to a 9 here. Okay, so you can see that this is actually shrunk. So what's very interesting about the camera tool is that it's attached to somewhere on a spreadsheet. And as you might imagine, this can do a lot of interesting things for us. But before we do any of that, I'm just going to take you through some of the things that I don't like that the camera tool does. So one of the things I don't like about the camera tool is that it puts this black line, this black border around your picture, and I don't particularly like that. So I'm going to go here to the Format tab that pops up when I select this picture, and I'm going to hit Reset Picture. Now, you can't really see this. One of the things to know is that as you look at these characters, they just don't look, the resolution on them is not as strong as the original. So this is something that you should know about the camera tool, is that what it reproduces is not always as good, but often it's good enough. Most people don't really look at these fonts and say, hey, it's not as aliased as this one. So often it's good enough to get by. And one other thing to know about the camera tool too is that if you have a lot of these, it can slow down your spreadsheet. I would say in later years I've not noticed this to be a problem, but if you are using them haphazardly and you're wondering why your spreadsheet's slow, that might be a reason. And then finally, another thing that we need to understand is that it pulls from this cell range, much in the same way that a formula does. So here we are challenging Excel's conventions because we are treating a picture like a formula. So what's interesting here is that if I move this image on top, now we see that it's not, at first it didn't really cause a problem, but as I keep moving it and updating it, because it is connected to the spreadsheet, it's like copying itself. So it has kind of a weird echoing effect that happens. So just as a general rule, Don't move a picture of itself on top of itself. That's like doing a circular reference in Excel. So just kind of think about it that way. Same sort of effect that's happening, but we're seeing it visually. Okay, so let's talk about what we can do with this. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to select cell A1. I'm going to drag it all the way down to cell J10. Now remember, this is all about cell references, which means that I can take a picture of anything on the cell. I can take a picture of G1 through M14. It's not exactly a picture I want to see, but I can do it. So I've set this up for us such that it's ready to go, but just remember that it can actually go anywhere. There's nothing special about this cell range except that I've designed it. So now with that area selected, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to click that camera tool again. And now we see the dancing bugs, the crawling ants, whatever you want to call them. I'm going to go here to my canvas tab. And I can click anywhere in here, which I'm going to do. I'm going to click, how about right here? And now we see that I have this picture of the image that was on my previous tab. And I can move this anywhere. Now remember, the first thing I like to do after I've used the camera tool is I'm going to go here and click Reset Picture. So that's going to remove that terrible border. But now I can move this anywhere. So if I wanted to create a report or design an infographic in Excel, this is a very easy way to do it. I can design all my charts over here, and then I can use the camera tool to go over here where they're not bounded to this grid. They're treated as pictures and they can float. Now, what's great about this technique, what I love about this, is that I can go back to charts and data. We see that we have this value over here. Remember, this can change in that it's automatic. When the camera tool is connected to a cell, it's treated very much like cells are treated, or I should say how formulas are treated in Excel. Everything is live. So I'll type 55 here, I'll hit enter, you see that it's updated here. I'm going to go to my canvas, it updates here. Now what else can we do that's cool here? So if I go to format, you can see all these pre-selected formats. Most of these I don't really love here for this, but every once in a while one of these is kind of cool. One of the things that you can do though, or one of the things that I just want to remind you of, is that you could treat this like a picture. So again, this is just right here, is just pulling from this right here. It's still live. We'll make this 85. Why not? Because everyone loves Excel. And you see it's updated here. So isn't that really cool? And if you wanted to really just make this a nice, clean looking graphic, I can go over here to where it says view. And I can flip off grid lines. And I can, if I wanted to, flip off headings and formula bar. And here it doesn't even look like it's Excel anymore.